The first candidate to speak will be Mr. Sheila. I did better for her.
If you can achieve it, it's achieve it.
I know.
Achieve it.
Floor is yours.
Is this on? Thank you for attending tonight's meeting, and I want to thank the current board for continuing to provide good candidates to serve on the next board. I signed up for the candidacy for two reasons. I believe resident participation is a duty if this community wants to thrive. And two, I believe I can offer this community my background and experience to improve the communication to the residents, as well as the best possible strategies and goals to be provided to our executive, Bill Berthel. My background is in engineering, specifically in plant and facility engineering, or in other words, making sure things run well and are kept in the best possible condition. I consider Heritage Pines as one of the best places to live in the Gulf Coast. And for that to continue, the board must provide the necessary strategy and goals for our management team to operate. It is important to verify and rate our management on their performance to these goals and hold them accountable and compensated based on the board's requested goals. We are in a phase of renovation and improvements that are very visible, and the residents are rewarded with these improved facilities. But that phase of our community will end this year with construction. There will be no more capital improvements funded by Lennar, and with this drop in funding, the board will have to reorient their actions to improving the management of these fine facilities. If maintenance is substandard or service declines after all of these beautiful improvements have concluded, we all suffer. I believe I have the experience to do this. My years in quality control, and project management, and engineering have taught me to value full review of each decision based on providing a level playing field and decisions based on facts. When this is accomplished by the board and followed up with the basis of our decision, all communication to the residents will be improved. This is why I'm running to start the improvement in quality and transparency of our decisions. Residents have the right to know about the operation and control of their facilities. They are the owners. In no way does this reflect upon the current board, which I think is very good.
Thank you, Janice. Burr, what powers should the board give the GM to equitably enforce rules and regulations such as golf cart usage, design review compliance, speeding, etc.?
The first word was what? Power?
What powers?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think that's pretty well defined, just as in the Constitution of the United States. The executive has the position to make things run. That's his job. Our job as board is to put the strategies there and evaluate whether he's doing them. For every resident here, if Bill doesn't do what he's been asked and tasked to do, it is our job as the board of directors to reorient that and make a change. Bill has complete power as far as executive decisions. Just like there are presidents that overstep their bounds, very often there is not the board that oversteps its bounds. If anything, I would say that what I would do to this position is bring a little bit more power or a little bit more review by the board of directors regarding that executive ability. I hope that was clear. I tried to relate to the Constitution of the United States. I think it's very similar.
Thank you. Burr, how would you, as a member of the board, make sure the interest of the entire community is placed ahead of special interest groups?
That's a tough question. What is the definition of a special interest group? One person's special interest group is another person's disaster. There is not an answer to that. But I think I said before that my objective is a level playing field. That means the input of every resident, listening to them. Each of the residents count. Making sure that there's transparency so that this community knows what the board is doing. Now that's difficult. I think that Bob has done a wonderful job with the videos. We can actually see that and has distributed them. I think that's part of transparency. I'm very appreciative of what Bob has done. 1 minute remaining. They always say you should just cut it off there. The trouble is, I'm an engineer. There is nothing that gets cut off. As far as resolving the, I'm not sure that's part of the question, but as far as resolving this between different special interest groups, remember we are acting on the facts. And when you do that and you present it, those special interests somehow diminish because they're visible in their fallacy or the problem. And so the answer is resolved. When I was in engineering, we used to use an approach called or trade. I don't know if any of you heard of that, but basically it's the same as evaluating a bid. You present those things that are important, and you rate it on what that is.
Sure, thank
And you
you.
come up with the answer.
Bob's question is for you. What is the meaning of fiduciary responsibility as it relates to the board of directors?
Maybe I should give this to Kevin. He's much better answering. But fiduciary responsibility certainly has to deal with the responsibility, which is a very important responsibility for how the funds are spent. If they're spent properly, I mean, that would be the definition, in my mind. Don't quote me, I'm an engineer. Beyond that, I'm not sure what you're asking. Could say it one more time, maybe I picked up something that, or maybe I can pick up something else.
What is the meaning of fiduciary responsibility as it relates to the board of directors?
Okay. So as it relates to the board of directors, that then would apply to, do we give the best, within the costs that we have, and the maintenance of those costs in the proper order, do we give the best value we can to the residents, honestly and fairly?
Second, her.
Particularly the guy that has to talk about this at the tail end, because all of those good questions and answers have already been given. But I'll conclude mine with what I started with. One of my fortes was in strategic planning. I was an engineer in advanced manufacturing engineering, so I know a little bit about long-range planning. And don't think that this kind of improvement is going to go on. We have been very, very fortunate to have the money we've had and to see these improvements. And it is wonderful. If we could live like this in a dream, it would be everlasting. You know, this is what you could bring and say, okay, this is my ideal, this is the way I'd like to live. But let's face it, we cannot do that because there's not that inflow of money that has occurred in the past. So with that in mind, and also the fact that we will be facing inflation, if anybody is aware of that, that is coming down the road. And so therefore costs will be going up. And this board had a wonderful time. The next board is going to have a little more difficult time. And the board after that is going to have an even more difficult time. To keep 175 is going to be difficult. And also to keep the value and the beauty of this course at the same time is going to be difficult. That's what I'm here for, to make sure we make the right choices, the right decisions that are going to continue us along this path of excellence